in Akwa, Duala, and same time in Boya, chief town of the southwest region of Cameroon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. First, our major stories. Bed bugs invade several neighborhoods in the Duala 1, 3, and 5, causing a wave of panic among residents. The population are urging the government to organize a mass sanitation campaign in order to help eradicate the insect from their area. And disinfection campaign is underway in the Duala 5 subdivision as we speak. And away from that, Chad's government has announced that it will provide free water and electricity for households until the end of the year. He also promises to cut transportation taxes, which will eventually lead to lower transportation costs. Some Chadians perceive the move as an attempt by the interim president Mahamat Debi to attract support for his presidential bid. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. So much, ladies and gentlemen, for choosing Equinoxe television. You made the right choice. After the Brigade neighborhood in Yaoundé, inhabitants of the Duala 5 subdivision, the Lithura region, are now being attacked by bedbugs. To fight against the dangerous insects, authorities of the Duala 5 Council have urged their residents to register their names to enable the Hygiene and Sanitation Department of the Council to come disinfect their houses. Majikan Gabriel reports.
Duala 5 subdivision is now the latest area in Cameroon to be infested by bed bugs. My little kid saw it in his room. When I asked what it was, he said it was bed bugs and he had never seen it. It's almost everywhere in the neighborhood. No one knows where it's coming from. It was since January that inhabitants at a private residence in Bonangang discovered the bed bugs. It's like witchcraft. I don't know how they got here. At Bonamusadi, several inhabitants have lost sleep because of bed bugs. There were many. They were all over my mattress. There were so many that I struggled to kill some, but I realized they were reproducing. As a result of the numerous complaints, the Hygiene and Sanitation Department of Duala 5 subdivision descended to the field to disinfect some homes in Bonamusadi, Bonangang, and Bepa. We are out to fight against bed bugs in homes. For now, we work according to the demand of the population. During this crisis period, homes will be disinfected to keep away these bed bugs. The Duala 5 Council authorities are urging the people to report cases in their zones for the Hygiene and Sanitation team to effectively descend and work. I'm calling on all of the families who haven't registered their names to come do that fast. We are available and determined to kick out these bed bugs. Notwithstanding the efforts put up by Duala 5, these bed bugs were discovered in Duala 1 and 3 subdivisions respectively, but till date, no action has been taken by these local authorities.
Smajikan Gabriel reporting there. The huge potholes found on the stretch of road leading to the slaughterhouse in Bonandale neighborhood, Duala 4 subdivision, is a major cause for concern. A nightmare for car owners as they are obliged to frequent the mechanic workshop every day. Residents recount their challenges in this report compiled by Malaglary.
The street leading to the slaughterhouse in Bonindale neighborhood is full of water as vehicle owners maneuver around potholes to make their way. One of the largest potholes has been transformed to a mini lake at the center of the road, a risk to vehicle owners who sometimes find it really hard going through the stretch. Transporters supplying goods in this area recount their ordeal.
We go garage every day. We change the brake lining every after 1 week. So it makes us to have difficulties to deliver in time here in this quarter. And sometimes we even refuse completely because of this water. And we have a control here in front here that we pay 2,000.
Residents say they spend more time on this road than they should due to traffic. Students equally have the same complaint.
The trajet you're supposed to make in 30 minutes, you can do it in 1 hour 30.
A lot of school buses usually get bad inside the water. The engines get bad in the water and they got stuck, causing students to go to school late. In dirty school uniforms, like us with whites, you can come in the morning, a bike or a car is passing, when it enters the water, it will flash, like when it enters, the pressure will lift up and dirty our school uniforms.
The road, which is in its worst state, has been a nightmare to the inhabitants for over a year and still give them sleepless nights as the rains have just started.
We'll leave the Duala 4 subdivision now to the Duala 3 subdivision, where store owners at the Dakar market say business is very slow. This is because some traders are occupying the pavement and selling the same goods as they do and inside the market, thus stopping customers from going inside the market to buy from them. They call on the authorities to find ways to reduce the incivility in this market so as to permit everyone to make profit. We have details once more with Mala Glory.
This is Dakar Market in the Duala 3 municipality. Here, not only foodstuffs are sold, but other items which you can find in the market. Though traders are mostly positioned along the road on the pavement, a disturbing situation to store owners selling inside the market. Business is really not going. It's difficult. And this is because you have people out there selling the same product we sell. It's therefore not easy to make profit these days. Despite the risk that goes with selling along the road, such as accidents and threats from authorities for the traders to free the pedestrian truck, businessmen are not ready to leave because we sell here on the pavement because it's not easy to get a shop inside the market. It's so expensive, and above all, you need connection to get one. You must pass through someone you know. The occupation of pedestrian truck by businessmen at the Dakar market is the same situation in most markets in the economic capital city Duala and Cameroon as a whole. Many blames it on economic hardship, a concern to the authorities.
And now we talk something else. Territorial Administration Minister Paula Tanganji has ordered government administrators to stop asking owners of private enterprises to contribute money for the organization of official ceremonies. This warning is contained in a press release he signed. A civil society actor salutes this action of Minister Paula Tanganji while raising the fact that illegal funds collection hindered the effective functioning of enterprises in the country. More with Innocent Asen.
Governments and local officials had taken this to be compulsory, demanding owners of private enterprises to contribute money for organization of public or official ceremonies. Henceforth, things will have to change as the Minister of Territorial Administration, in a press release, ordered these authorities to desist from this practice. Civil society actor and politician Dr. Businiba gives a handshake to the Minat boss.
Administrators of the country sometimes ask these people to contribute money for official events. It's not really right, because these people sacrifice a lot to contribute towards nation building and they pay a lot of taxes to the government. And I think that government has budget for that, especially administrators. Most of the doyens, the administrators from ministers, directors, senior divisional officers, they have a package for that to organize events like 20th May, 11 February, and other official events known by the state. I think that it has to stop.
Squeezing money from these private enterprises, which rather need government's assistance to be solid and contribute for a resilient economy, makes no sense to Dr. Businiba.
We have seen situations where sometimes they are unable to pay their workers. I think that we have to do the right thing as nation building is concerned. That's the issue, because we need to build Cameroon. His Excellency President Paul Biya talks about an emerging nation by 2035.
Any contribution by these entrepreneurs, he thinks, should be out of free will.
Owners of private enterprises can just contribute as a result of solidarity, just showing that solidarity and love and that communal way of living. It's a plus to contribute towards the success of state events, especially in our local community as regionalization is concerned. But it should not be an obligation.
The eyes of Minister Paula Tanganji are therefore fixed on governments and local administrative authorities.
And now to something else. In 2022, 15 companies in Cameroon accounted for 39.5% of the total revenue in the productive sector. This is contained in the 2022 Economic and Finance Survey of Companies in Cameroon, released by the National Institute of Statistics. While most of these leading firms are subsidiaries of foreign multinationals, 6 are primarily or entirely owned by Cameroonian capital. From Yamstrong Sanda tells us more.
The ranking and statistics from the National Institute of Statistics reveals that 15 companies in Cameroon accounted for 39.5% of the total revenue in the production sector in 2022. In real terms, this revenue amounts to 5,098.1 billion francs CFA as contained in the 2022 Economic and Financial Survey of Companies published on March 4, 2024. The report reveals that these top 15 companies have seen their influence increase by 12.2%. While most of these firms are subsidiaries of foreign multinationals, 6 are primarily or entirely owned by Cameroonian capital. At the forefront of the local companies is the National Oil Refinery Company, Sonara, Cameroon Sole Oil Refinery, which ranks 4th. Sonara attained this position after the government of Cameroon granted it a contract to import 80% of Cameroon's petroleum products following a catastrophic fire incident in May 2019 that nearly destroyed its production infrastructure. The second local company on the list is the oil firm Trading and Exploitation, Tradex, a subsidiary of the National Hydrocarbons Corporation (SNH), ranking 7th and noted for its competitiveness against foreign entities in distributing petroleum products across the nation. Leading the private Cameroonian enterprises, ranked 10th overall and 3rd among domestic companies, is the Kiers du Cameroon, Congercam, entirely owned by billionaire Sylvestre Goshinge and commanding 80% of the national fish market. Consequently, and as a result, Sonara and Tradex are the lone national capital companies to make it among the top 10 of the best 15.
From Yamstrong Sanda reporting there. Poor education system, lack of infrastructures and water shortage, amongst other things, are some of the challenges faced by the population of the Far North region for the past years. In a bid to alleviate the suffering of the people, members of the regional council are stepping up measures. They recently visited some localities to evaluate what could be done to help this population. Ese Luciliengu reports.
The educational system in the Far North region has been paralyzed for over the years. Students still studying outdated structures, lacking equipment. We don't have benches and classrooms. Apart from the dilapidated structures, most hospitals in the region lack medical equipment and personnel, putting at risk the lives of the people. The Far North region is one of the regions in the country which lacks medical equipment, so we need the assistance of the regional council in order to ameliorate the living conditions of the inhabitants of the 6 divisions in the Far North region. Members of the regional council visited some schools, ensuring that students have classrooms and benches. This falls under the projects of the regional council in the Far North region.
Les 2 dernières années, on a mis l'accent sur la santé et l'éducation.
For the past 2 to 3 years, Asen has been placed on health and education, which covers 60% of our projects. So we decided to visit some localities where projects are ongoing, like the district hospital of Mora, to view the work progress.
De Mora, pour voir les équipements que nous avons livrés.
However, much is still to be done as what concerns water scarcity, which is also a major concern.
And in the upcoming report, we'll show you 2 vibrant young girls. Both of them are from the conflict Northwest region, and they are involved in the car washing business. Both of them are now in Bonaberry, and that's how they are able to feed their families and themselves during these hard times. Details in this report done by Ese Luciliengo once more.
Jessica and her sister, both internally displaced persons as a result of the war in the Northwest region, have braved the odds by engaging themselves into a full-service car wash. They have been into this activity for over a year. Their determination and courage is mind-blowing, according to their adoptee mother.
Ça m'a surpris de savoir qu'elle pouvait faire métier de garçon.
Jessica and Beva, as early as 7 a.m., leave the house for work. Once at the office, the ladies put on their work attires. Tirelessly, Jessica uses a vacuum cleaner to remove the dust and particles from the vehicle.
C'est quand on balaye encore les petits sables, il faut que la voiture du client soit bien propre. Donc c'est pour retirer les petits sables qui caillent sur le tapis de la voiture.
A task which, according to the vibrant lady, is not challenging.
C'est pas si difficile parce que on est un peu habitué.
If the client is in a hurry, Beva on her part ensures that the car is clean and meets up with the customer's demand.
Il faut bien les nettoyer comme ça avant de s'abonner.
Seeing the young girls daring and excelling in such an activity considered by many to be dominated by men to their clients is striking.
Je suis vraiment satisfait du service des filles parce qu'elles s'y mettent vraiment.
Jabers is equally satisfied with the magnificent work.
J'ai donné un essai de 2 semaines et après les 2 semaines, j'ai été convaincu par le travail. Assiduité parce que c'était là très tôt le matin.
Bevan and Jessica are holders of the GC Advanced Level Certificate. They say they left the Northwest region to seek refuge in Duala as a result of the long-arm conflict plaguing the 2 English-speaking regions.
On est fui la guerre au Northwest. C'est pour ça qu'on est venu entrer dans la vérité.
Like the saying goes, what a man can do, a woman can do it better.
Indeed, Lucy, what a man can do, a woman can even do better. And out of our national frontiers and chart, the government declares free water and electricity until the end of the year. The announcement was made by the Minister of Finance via a circular dated Monday, March 11th, which specifies that the invoices will be covered by the state in Cote d'Ivoire, the funeral of the former president of the Democratic Party of Cote d'Ivoire, Henri Konan Bédié, is set for May 20th to June 2nd, 2024. A runner of his foreign page with our reporter Cedric Chakutu.
In charge in a press release from the Ministry of Finance, the government has decreed free water and electricity until the end of the year. This is indicated in a circular dated Monday, March 11th. The note specifies that the bills will be covered by the state up to a limit of 300 kilowatts per month and per household. In the area of transport, the government is also announcing a 50% reduction in several taxes, a measure which comes in the context of inflation and rising fuel price increase. Due to the timing of the announcement, some citizens see it as an electoral measure. Elsewhere in Côte d'Ivoire, the funeral of former President Arin Bédié will take place from May 20th to June 2nd, 2024. Henri Bédié died on October 1st, 2023 and will be buried next June. This Monday, the date of his funeral was revealed during an audience between the President of the PDCI RDA, Tidaj Tiama, and President Alassane Ouattara. We had a meeting with the family and their wish is that the funeral should be done from the 20th of May and it will be done with the benediction of the President Alassane Ouattara. President Alassane Ouattara assured us of his help and support for this funeral.
De l'État pour donner au président Bédié des obsèques dignes de la contribution qu'il a apportée à ce pays.
Former President of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire, Arin Konan Bédié died on August 1st, 2023 following illnesses at Polyclinique International Sainte Anne-Marie. He will be entitled to a national funeral worthy of the name, assured Alassane Ouattara. As you know, I was working with Arin Konan Bédié as second of the party. I really loved working with him. It's very sad he went, but we shall do everything so that the funeral goes well.
That's it for the first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Tonight on Talking Point, I'll be having as guest Lawrence Kidding J. He is a sports analyst and we'll be discussing about the rising phenomenon of age fraud in Cameroonian football. Good evening. It is a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight. Can you please explain to us the recent actions taken by FIFA against age fraud in Cameroonian football?
I don't think FECAFOOT has taken any special action against age cheating in the Elite One Championship. We should understand that FECAFOOT is just following its text. And what the rules of the game say is that after the regular season, before the playoffs, the Secretary General of FECAFOOT is going to publish the list of eligible players, the players who are eligible to play, to go in for the playoffs. And to do that, FECAFOOT goes into its system and looks at the various names of the players, because FECAFOOT knows very well that during the regular season, there will be reclamations, there will be complaints over players having double identity. And I think the publication of the list of players eligible to play the playoffs has really has raised eyebrows all over the national territory in the media. But I think FECAFOOT knows very well what it's doing. FECAFOOT knows that many are the players who have double identities, and they try to clean up the files. They're trying to clean up the names because they don't want complaints to be raised during the playoffs. They want the playoffs played on the pitch of play, not in the offices, and that the winner of the playoffs should be the true winner of the championship.
Lawrence Kede, Nathan was taken to the 2023 AFCON with a recent scandal. What impact does age fraud have on the integrity of sports in Cameroon?
Well, I think the case of Nathan Duala is glaring. He was taken to the AFCON as one of the local players and the youngest player of the tournament. That's why the scandal is going international, because now they say it's not his real age, and I think it has an impact on sports in Cameroon, because the image of Cameroon football has once more been tarnished with the case of Nathan Duala. But as it's rightly said, he was one of the players that were picked out as having a double identity, but the players had, the clubs had an amount of time, that's latest today, 3:30, to send their justifications. And I think the president of Victoria United was mentioning earlier yesterday on media that Nathan Duala has his right age, and that what has been published is practically a mistake. But it's age cheating, it's not new in the Cameroonian setting. I think from previous generation of players, we have always have players where the ages have always been in doubt. And even the current president of the federation, Samuel Eto'o, had question marks over his age when he was playing for Chelsea. We remember that scene with Jose Mourinho where he doubted the age of Eto'o, and it has been said that many African players do change their ages. So I think it's nothing new. We have been seeing that all through over the continent, and we just have to take our courage in our hands and move forth and clean up the database of football players.
Now, we'd like to know from you, how does FECAFOOT verify the ages of players, and what measures are put in place to prevent falsification of their ages? Well,
to how does FECAFOOT verify this data, let's equally note that each time a club is registered with FECAFOOT, you have a login into the FIFA Connect system, where the club go in and insert the names and variables of all their players, and at the level of FECAFOOT, they receive this data equally in what they call the TMS system. So FECAFOOT receives data for all players in all the leagues, be it from Elite 1, Elite 2, the regional leagues and the youth leagues. All is being inserted in this database such that the day the same name appears with two different ages, it's equally easy to detect that this is a fraud. That each club president should create a youth theme, and such that all the players will be registered in the database from their youthful age. And it was equally asked for players not to register with their birth certificates, but to create identity cards for these kids, because once they are in the database of the nation, that's the Bureau, and have national ID cards, it's going to be difficult for them to change their age once they are equally registered in the FIFA Connect system. But unfortunately, by the time this regime came into place, it has been practically more than 2-3 decades that age teaching has been going on. And I can assure you that practically more than 60% of any top flight players in Cameroon have changed their ages.
You just made mention of the fact that age cheating has been practically going on for about 3 or 2 decades. Now, what are the long-term consequences for players found guilty of age fraud?
A player like Nathan Duala, for example, his image has been tarnished and he will lose. If it is confirmed that he has a double identity, he's going to lose all potential contracts at the international level, and sometimes these players end up their careers just because of this issue of age cheating. I remember Hekube, the goalkeeper of Apeje Somfu, because of a double ID, he was one of Cameroon's under-20 internationals, but he couldn't make it to the final phase of some competitions and no more selected, and he couldn't even make it into any club in the top flight because everybody knew that he has changed his age. So it's extremely detrimental to these players who practically lose. Well, for players who find themselves with the guilt of age fraud, the rule is simple. They are practically just suspended out of the league. We've seen it with the list of players who have been suspended in the last playing days of the regular championship. We know that these players are suspended for the rest of the season, and FECAFOOT is going to force these players to go and adopt their original age. That means if you have changed your age from 29 years to 16 years or 18 years of age, FECAFOOT, once you are suspended, forces you to come back with your original age, that you go back to your 29 years of age.
We have been talking about double identity, but I guess some people don't really have an idea of what it is. Could you, in simple terms, explain to us what does false identity, or let's say double identity, mean in the world of sports?
No, so some players will change their names and their ages, but their pictures remain the same, because with the facial recognition, sometimes it's easy to bring out two different names, but with the same image or the same face, and that's how detection is being done. But I think FECAFOOT chose a better way to stop this age cheating, to stop the age fraud. FECAFOOT started from the base, which is the youth leagues, which is registering kids of 8, 10, 12 years for their first time with their real ages, and imposing that these youths should have ID cards, because once they have ID cards, it's difficult for them now to change their data. So FECAFOOT has been trying and doing his best for quite some time now.
Lawrence Kier, sports analyst, thank you so much for your time. And equally, thank you to all our dear viewers for staying with us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. That will put an end to today's edition. Have a wonderful evening in the company of more interesting programs on ETV.